Hello everyone, this is Marta.
And this is Anna.
And this is You've Got 5 Options show.
And welcome to episode 160, Marta. A round number, so I decided just to announce it.
Yes, very nice rounded episode. And just at the beginning here now, telling you guys that we will be answering your questions.
Yes.
And therefore, you are very welcome to get in contact with us.
Yes.
Through Facebook. On Facebook, if you look for You've Got 5 Options and you find it, then you'll be able to send us a message.
And we would like to say that if you are not our follower on Facebook already, we will not take it against you. So we will give you a moment. Facebook, You've Got 5 Options. That's our official fan page. And then you have a message option. Marta, I believe you have your computer open already.
Yes, I have my computer open. It worked pretty well last time. We've had a couple of people writing to us and we could read the messages. So very much looking forward to hearing from you. And at the same time, we have already received some questions that we will be answering today.
Yes, and of course, I guess we have to mention that if you are listening to this episode in a form of a podcast, then you can still write us a question, but we will not answer them in a real time because currently we are live on air here in Aarhus and worldwide if you are streaming our program via internet. So if you catch us now, it's Friday, 15th of May, 2 o'clock Central European Time. Please don't be shy and send us your question. If you are listening to us in any other point of time, don't be shy, send us a question, but don't really expect that we will answer it straight away.
Yeah, if we get questions, we will definitely organize yet another show where we will be answering questions because we really want to interact with you guys.
Yes, we are not just talking heads that talk to each other. We also like to talk to you and to hear from you.
Yeah, so
I sound like a needy chick in high school. Okay.
Question, challenge, comment is welcome.
Very welcome. Yep.
And if not on Messenger, maybe you are against Facebook. There are people against Facebook.
Yes.
You can get in contact with us also via our website, the5options.com.
5 as a number.
Exactly. 5 as a number, the5options.com.
And if you will go there, you will see in a menu contact. Then you can just send a message. You can even record a message because we have still that function there. And we will play it on the radio. Are we ready, Marta?
Very ready.
Yeah.
So today we will be answering questions like, how can one be still sociable even with all the social distancing? And we will also attempt to answer a very interesting question of what would a new normal look like?
Yowza.
And we also have a question like advice to anyone experiencing depression because of Corona.
Yes, I think those are really interesting questions.
And let's, for now, give those 3 questions because we have a record of not being able to answer many questions in one show because of going in depth into a question. So if there is more time, we shall answer more questions.
Yes, that is correct. Although I would not count on it. But who knows? Marta, who knows? Actually, we are full of surprises.
Yes. And still, we do prefer to go in depth rather than not in depth, in shallow.
In the shallow.
We
don't like to scratch the surface superficially. We want to put our nasty little fingers into the depth of the actual matter of the things. We should work with soil or something.
We should be diggers.
Gold diggers. Well, maybe 10 years ago.
We are digging for nuggets of gold or whatever it's called.
Yes, that do not belong to a rich man. That are just there.
Nuggets of wisdom. Yeah. It's nuggets of wisdom, nuggets of gold. There is something like that as well, right?
There are golden nuggets in KFC.
Okay. Really?
Yes, I think, no?
Well, not looking for those nuggets since neither of us eats meat, but...
That is correct. Correct.
Anyhow,
Yes, we are digging. let's just finish on this
diving.
note. Deep diving. We are I cannot swim. I deep dive mentally, philosophically, emotionally, but not physically because I could die.
I think what you're doing right now is paddling.
I have a similar sensation.
Okay. Backwards racing.
Let's get down to it. And not get down on it, get down to it. And attempt to answer the first question.
Mm-hmm.
Get down on it. I just have a really nice memory from one of the shows from the past.
Yes, I know which memory is that.
Okay, the first question is, how can one be still sociable even with all the social distancing?
Mm-hmm. I think the first thing I would like to say that many people decided to jump to the physical distancing instead of social distancing thing. I think I saw it first time like a month ago that people are like, we shouldn't call it social distancing. It's only physical distancing. And I guess that could be one of the points to consider, that it's only about the physical, not necessarily the social. But this is the narrative that was given to us via the mainstream media. It was called social distancing everywhere. So I guess we picked it up.
Yes, we did. And I think in one of our shows, we were actually talking about that already. Mm-hmm. So let's do it without overly deep diving.
Is that even possible?
Well, let's see. Let's see about that.
Yes.
So basically, for sure, like Zooming is a way out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not the same as meeting physically with a group of people, yet you can still make it meaningful. Mm-hmm. So in those times, Anna and I, we have been Zooming with our friends. We have been meeting for a beer online.
Yeah, I believe one of those friends ended up with quite a hangover next day.
That's true. We have
It was a very good Zoom meeting.
But you can brunch over Zoom.
Yeah.
You can, actually, I had an Easter breakfast with my family. People in several different locations met together. And it was pretty good.
Mm.
So you can get some of that online.
Yeah.
And you can also, depending on the country where you live and depending on the local restrictions that you are facing, you can start actually going for a walk with a friend. Mm-hmm. That's one way to still be sociable. Mm-hmm. In Denmark, you can also start meeting a group of people, as long as it's not more than 10 people.
It's still this thing with 10 people, right?
Yes, that has been sustained.
That has
so
been
far.
Sustained. However, now you don't have to keep 2 meters. You can keep only 1 meter apart.
Yes. So I have seen amazing things. There is a lady who is doing yoga in Aarhus, Denmark, and she has so many people who want to meet with their own, people are bringing their own stuff, meeting outdoors and doing yoga together because the fitness centers are still to remain closed for undefined amount of time. So that's one way. The weather, at least in our hemisphere, is quite good. Mm-hmm. You can often find it as a possibility where you can meet with people in a group. Keep 1 meter distance, but you can be physically in the same nature space.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing already compared to sitting locked down at home.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can start meeting in smaller group of friends also, like your friends outdoor. For example, if you have a garden, you can invite friends. You can put your chairs 1 meter apart and you can enjoy a get together.
Get together. Yeah, that's correct.
So I think here in Denmark, we are pretty fine with this now ability to meet with 10 people max, especially outdoors because it's a springtime and the spring is pretty nice. And I'm thinking that one of the ways to be sociable is to organize things yourself. You can join the events that someone else is organizing, or you can also organize your own small set or online meetups for that one thing you are really interested in, like your passion.
That is true. And I have to say that, and it will sound, I don't know, either sad or surprising, but I really don't see much of a difference in my social life now and before the COVID-19. And I believe that that's also because I was on the maternity leave all this time. So it's like, that's like a quarantine. But I believe that this actually, the biggest problem, and I think we also talked about it, is for the people who are introverts. For extroverts. For introverts, that's not a problem. Extroverts, and for people who have a certain lifestyle, who, for instance, spend a lot of time in bars, in clubs, traveling, being active, being with people. Because, it's like when I think about these 10 people, it is sociable, but for some people, it's not sociable. Some people see a sociable event is to go for a concert or to go to a club or to a bar and to be able to talk to strangers. I also think that some people have a problem with this distance thing. I have noticed, and I think this actually will impact your social ability, maybe that is the better thing, because I have noticed an awkward dance many times between people who even know each other, but they don't really know, okay, how scared are you of the infection type of a question in a head, because, you have this 1 meter right now, it was decreased. But some people don't have a problem with shaking hands or hugging or being close to another person because they believe that they are not going to get infected or they are healthy and other people are healthy. But there is this kind of awkwardness, like what can I do and what can I not do? And I think this can somehow impact the social ability, because this is one of the questions my daughter has. She is coming back to school this Monday. And they were introduced to all the rules online. And for instance, some rules are like you will not be changing the classes because normally they have different classes in different rooms. You will not be changing rooms. You will be all the time in one room. There will be only 2 people at the table and you will sit diagonal because the virus cannot infect sideways. I'm sorry, I had to say it. It's those diagonal rules are just, if you want to really cough bad, you will manage through the diagonal. So, okay.
You cannot come if you're coughing.
Yes, that's also correct. But she basically said, for me, the weirdest and I think the most stressful thing is, Mom, I don't know how to act with my friends. Like, should I hug them? Because that's normal thing they are doing. And this is a almost 14-year-old girl. They are hugging each other when they see each other. And, the premise is they are all healthy. None of them is infected with the COVID. So, it's like try to comprehend it when you are a 14, 13-year-old, a teenager. Like, I'm not sick. My friends are not sick. We are at school because we are not sick. Because if we were sick, we would have to stay home. And now, I cannot even shake hand or touch my friend. So there is a lot of questions in those young...
Our school answers those questions directly.
Yeah?
Yeah, in our school, it is said exactly that kids, the bigger ones that are coming back on Monday, they are assigned in groups of 3. And in those groups, they don't have to keep the 1 meter distance contact.
Okay.
And with other kids, they need to keep 1 meter distance. That means they don't hug, they don't shake hands, they don't touch each other. So they are divided in these small set, groups where they don't have to keep 1 meter distance.
The triplet strategy.
Yeah, the triplet strategy is the same for...
And they are assigned for a day or for...
No, for all the time. All the time. You are assigned, you are you are in a group of 3 with whom until the end of the school year, these are your 2 closest people. So if you don't like them, you are screwed. But these are, they try to put them with friends. So, for
Okay.
example, with my youngest kids, they ended up in groups with kids. They really get together well, and they are very happy. They're actually happier than before Corona times. I mean, my youngest one said, "Thanks God, Corona is so much cooler now in the kindergarten." Like really, there are also some kids that are happy with that, surprisingly. And at the same time, yes, it's answered in our school that you cannot shake, like it's said very directly, you cannot shake hand, you cannot come closer than 1 meter with all the rest of your class. You have your classroom available, sitting 1 meter apart, and you have the area around the classroom for group work where you might need to be sitting 1 meter apart if the group is bigger than your 3 friends. But with those, or 2 friends, in a group of 3, you don't need to keep the 1 meter.
And I guess, but that actually poses again the question how to be sociable in a conditions like this, because being sociable, well, everyone has probably a definition of what does it mean, but I guess my definition didn't took in consideration walking around in a triplet set for 2 months, and not being able to come closer to another triplet set than a meter, right? So that's those rules imposed on kids, I guess, can in a way somehow impact the sociability factor, especially that my daughter has like 3 very good friends. So now what they will put her with, like one will be rejected, or this is a world of a young people. They are not necessarily thinking in the same priorities as we do. And I actually have talked with one of the teachers in a private school, but he's teaching older kids, 16, 17, 18. And he said, these rules, it's like, who came up with these rules? Do you know how 16, 17 years old are acting? That they will sit, 3 of them and meet. It's like, it's like you don't understand, young people. So the teachers are stressed many times. I'm talking about the older kids, teenagers. It's like, if I was a teenager, I don't know how I would act, looking at this. You are in your rebel yell phase, It's what if you have a boyfriend, you're 17 and your boyfriend is in a different triplet, like, there are this basically, I think, poses some challenges on the entire concept of being social in your natural environment that is school, right? And I hope that soon this will all be over and we will look at it as a funky experiment that was done back in the day. I really hope that the rate of people infected that is officially given to us will just drop, and because I think this will do something very strange to the young minds,
Absolutely. I mean, I'm just talking about that in our school, they are more straightforward in communicating the rules, which I think is better than uncertainty.
Yes.
Because at least the kids are given some guidelines, and
they know what rules they are breaking, just in case.
Yeah, but the whole concept of it, I mean, this is crazy. I really, when we are talking about the new normal, I think we will get deeper into those topics. So answering the question here on how can one be still sociable even with the social distancing, I think we are kind of maybe good with that question. Don't you think that these considerations are maybe a good transition to the second question?
I think so. I will just add one more thing, which I added in the notes, and that was talk to your neighbors. And I have added that because that is my personal experience that I'm having these days. My neighbors were people that were living with me in the same building pretty much before all of this happened. Maybe I knew some names, maybe I didn't. There was a simple hello. Let's take in consideration that most of them are Danes. So as you know from our programs, it's harder to get friends with Danes, especially when you don't really have time for this because everyone was so much into their regular life. Now when people were locked home and the only trips they were doing was downstairs to to take the trash, you actually could meet your neighbor way more often than in a regular circumstances. And I started to talk to my neighbors, and people are hungry for that contact. Even if you stand at that time 2 meters from each other just to talk to someone, you don't go to work, you don't have your colleagues, you cannot visit your family. Surprisingly, a lot of people were very open to that. So, talk to your neighbors, because maybe you will discover that you have really cool people around you.
I realized that I actually don't know if hugging people and shaking hands, if it's like forbidden. Can you go to the prison because you hug someone on the street or because you shake hands with someone? Do you know, Dennis?
Maybe a fine?
I think you can get a fine.
Get a fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think the prison is but yeah, you can get a fine, I believe, yeah. And trust me when I say that you can get a fine, because there are some people who perceive this as a huge danger, and they might actually inform the police if they will see you not keeping the distance, even if you are not keeping the distance from your relative.
People have gotten fines. It's been in the news.
Yeah, but I was thinking if it's still...
I'm sure they have a way to escalate penalties, and prison might be on there as a final solution.
Let's just stop with the final solution.
Yes, let's do that. But I don't know how they can escalate it if they just fine bigger and
Do
heavier.
they have enough space in prisons for people to keep the distance?
In solitary, yes, I guess.
But do they have enough solitary to put all the huggers? I think, I asked the question.
All the huggers.
The huggers. I asked the question on Facebook, on my personal profile, what do people miss the most when it comes to, these times? And the hugs are the number one thing.
Yeah.
Many people, of course, mention about travel and ability to see their families. I mean, especially if your family lives abroad, you cannot see your family. But hugs are the number one most missed thing. So I think sooner or later, I mean, it's a natural need of humans.
I shook hands with a stranger, the mother of a friend of mine. And it was only after the handshake, whereas we're not supposed to do that, but that was nice. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah.
We just did it. We'd never met before, so. Oh, nice. Yeah.
So you still have those natural reactions, now forbidden reactions.
And that tiny little physical contact.
Yeah.
That was enough for both of us to just go, sure, nice. Yeah, no, but we're not supposed to do that. No, okay.
Yeah.
But let's not tell anyone.
And,
well, you just tell everyone, but...
Yeah, and it was in public, so maybe there was some secret police watching us.
But, there is one situation where if you have a family, people you live with, like, for example, I live with 4 other dudes. I get shitloads of hugs, right? But there are people who live alone and that have not been hugged for 2 months.
We are volunteering, Dennis, to hug you if you want. Yeah, but that's also the awkward dance that we were talking about. You don't know what the other person, and I think that this is a very smooth transition to the new normal. Even when the rules will drop, you will still not know what's in the head of another person. Before, it would be very normal to shake a hand or hug someone that you just met as a hello, especially in Latin cultures. You hug when you meet someone. You don't even shake hand.
You kiss.
And even if the rules will be restrictions will be abolished, you will still feel uncertain if you can or cannot hug or shake hands with a specific person.
For me, there's a very easy way out. Just simply asking. I simply ask people. How do you feel about distancing? And I think that maybe will be. But we were supposed not to go too deep in this one. Let's move on. Yeah. Question number 2. What would a new normal look like?
Yes, so we have a question from a listener. And it's such a broad question that I see that we have prepared a lot of notes about it, Marta.
Yes, we
And
have.
it's more like, it's more like playing a bit of Nostradamus now. I believe that in 5 years, but I think so I would like to say that this is an exercise. It's a thought exercise, actually. It's an exercise in trying to predict future based on what we see and what we feel. And I would like everyone to take it as a harmless fun.
It's just fun. It's predictions. And I would love for us to come back to it in 2021.
Yeah.
And to review what of those predictions have actually...
I just had a prediction that in 2021 we are actually in a cave of grid and we cannot record this podcast. That was
then
a
we
joke.
will not come back to it. Then.
We will come back to it. We will just send it telepathically.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so what would a new normal look like? Taking under consideration, I mean, we don't know how this will go, right? We don't know if we are coming back more or less to the rules of the past or if we will never be back at them. So let's try. Anna, do you want to go first? What do you...
I believe
what
that
are
you
your
know what we
predictions?
can do? We can do you one, me one, Dennis, and a circle. Circle of life, circle of predictions. What do you think?
Okay.
It's almost like a hug.
It's almost like a hug,
Yeah.
exactly. So I can start. No, Marta, you will start because mine are very long.
Okay, it's just that we got a message.
We got a message.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if we can go into that message now or if we...
Maybe let's first go with the first round of the predictions.
Okay, the first round of the predictions.
la
So
la.
I believe that a new normal will look different depending on your own attitude and on the country you live in.
That's a very broad prediction.
Thank you.
Um,
Very...
So basically what you are trying to say here that you don't believe that it will unfold exactly the same in all the countries and cultures. That's
Yeah.
basically your...
That's why I don't know how to do this one by one because...
It's a very safe prediction.
It's a very... No, but I approve it.
But it's because I have the follow-ups in the next one, but you want us to go with the one only at the time. So
That might have been a mistake. Okay, give us the second one.
Okay, so the thing is that we already now see that the reality looks very different in Denmark
Yeah.
or, for example, in Spain. When I talk to my friends, their reality is drastically different to my reality. They feel like they are locked in a apartment like a rat. They feel to a large degree imprisoned.
Which actually I have to say, except of lab rats are actually having quite a lot of freedom, no?
Probably.
Yeah.
The thing is that it already now looks very different. Very, very different. In the countries where you cannot leave your house, where you cannot go for a walk, where you really don't see anyone else apart from the people you live with, it's drastically different to what we were saying now, where we can gather with less than 10 people, keep 1 meter distance and so on. So that's why I think that this new normal will look very different depending on your own attitude and the country you live in.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to explain it better without going into in depth with it. Okay, so the next one is there will be less air travel and it will become much more difficult.
Okay, that's something we can...
That's much more specific.
I confirm this prediction. I believe you are right in this prediction. I believe that we will see even more rules being implemented than after 9/11.